On Friday, some of us from the parish and some students from Lancaster Catholic High School went to the pro-life march in Washington. And some of the discussion was about, does it really make a difference? And in that discussion, we decided that if it changes just one life, then it makes a difference. And that it makes a difference in the life of each person who recognizes that the lives we all share are a gift from God. Before the march, there was a little program, and in that program, different people spoke. And one of the people who spoke was a young lady with Down syndrome. And I'll admit it, the moment she opened her mouth, she had the whole crowd in the palm of her hand. And she said a number of wonderful things, but basically she said, I'm glad my parents chose to bring me to life. And then she spoke about all the different things in her life. And anyone there was able to recognize that the gift of life that God gives us doesn't come in one package. That the gift of life that God gives us is made up of many, many different things. You know, we all know the story of when Mary went to visit Elizabeth, and we're told that John the Baptist leapt in Elizabeth's womb. In order to leap, he has to be alive. She hadn't been pregnant very long. But John the Baptist was alive in Elizabeth's womb. Then if we take that one step further, where God chose to come into this world as a human being, he placed himself in the womb of the Blessed Virgin Mary. But when did God become a human being? It would make sense that the moment he placed himself in the womb of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The gift of life that God gives us is an amazing gift. There was a small little white tent at the march, and it said, lost persons. And I thought, well, that isn't a very big tent because we're all lost persons. We're all lost in one way or another. We're all trying to find our way. And God didn't create us and say, okay, go find your way. He created us and said, let me be a part. Let me guide you. Let me lead you. In those moments when you feel lost, you're not lost. I'm here with you. I'll get you back to where you need to be. The first reading said, Ezra the priest brought the law before the assembly, which consisted of men, women, and those children old enough to understand. My friends, we are all children of God. And for the most part, we're old enough to understand. And somewhere inside, we're gathered here today or we're streaming because we recognize that the gift of life that we have been given is best lived with God guiding us at every moment. And all the people listened attentively. The problem is we don't listen attentively. We learned that as kids, right? We don't listen attentively. But if we just spend a little more time not worrying about what we want God to say to us, but what God is saying to us, then we're able to listen attentively, and then we're able to respect the life that God has given to us. And they prostrated themselves before the Lord. You know, when we kneel at Mass, it's because something important is happening, and we want to recognize that. But my guess is we don't do that too often any other time. What if all of us tonight decided before we went to bed we were going to kneel next to our bed and just thank God for the gift of our life? What would happen? I wonder what would be different in our lives and in all the different relationships that we have. Today is holy to the Lord your God. Do not be sad. Do not weep. Today is holy. And tomorrow we can say the same thing. Today is holy. And the next day, today is holy. God is here with us today. And every day is holy because God is with us. For rejoicing in the Lord must be your strength. We all know life can be hard sometimes. But the way we get through life is by rejoicing in the Lord. That's how we get His strength. When I thank God each day for the gift of life, that I can gain His strength, then He's a part of everything that I am. And no matter what happens out there, we can deal with it. Because God is our strength. The psalm said, your words, Lord, are spirit and life. Let the words of my mouth and the thought of my heart find favor before you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. The Lord is our rock, and we all hold on to that one rock, and we're all part of that one rock. Second reading said, a body is one, though it has many parts. An eye, ears, hands, feet, a mouth. We all play a part. Each and every piece of our lives is lived with other parts. And each and every one of us, born and unborn, old and young, are a part of God's creation. And if somehow we can remember that, then we place it all in God's hands and say, God, you created each and every one of us. Sometimes we don't understand it, but you created us. Give us the grace to trust that we all have a part to play. If one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. If one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. And then in the gospel, Luke says, I needed to write this down. And then he says that Jesus said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because He has anointed me to bring glad tidings to the poor, liberty to captives, sight to the blind, and let the oppressed go free. You know, ultimately, if we're honest, God's in charge, not us. And that's okay. And God created each and every one of us. And God wants to be a part of our lives. Listening to that young lady at the Pro-Life March with Down syndrome reminded us that every part isn't the same, but each part has its part to play. And each and every one of us can go through each and every day knowing that we do not have to be lost. We may not know where we're going, but we don't have to be lost when we allow the Lord to guide us. May we take time today and each and every day to thank God for the gift of our lives.